Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Post Narcissist. I'm glad that you found us here on YouTube and have joined our tribe of survivors. Guys, the last few videos I've put up, your comments have been absolutely amazing, and I'm really doing my very best to read each and every one of them, and the support that you guys are giving each other. I just find it so awesome. And for those of you that have had really gut-wrenching breakups, my heart really goes out to you. And today I'm going to talk about a subject that I haven't touched on yet, and that is money, and a way a narcissist sees money and also uses it. Like, a narcissist very much sees money not as a means for them to buy things that they want, but they see money as an absolute tool that they can use to control, manipulate, and feel powerful. And that's the way a narcissist sees money. Like, we see money as something that we have to work for, and when we get it, we can use it to help ourselves and help others, and use it to get the things that we need or want. You know, that's how a healthy, normal person should see money. A narcissist does not. And what happens to most of us is, if you remember, at the very beginning of the relationship, during the love bombing stage, usually the narcissist will always pick up the check, always almost love bomb you, not just with love, but also with money, whether they have it or not, because they know that this is a tool that they can use against you. You know, so if you're a woman and the male narcissist is making himself look like he can solve all your money problems and take care of you, that is very alluring to women, because it helps us relax. It helps, feel secure, and, and that's kind of what a lot of us are looking for. And on the other hand, if your narcissist female is very financially secure and things like that, it almost is relieving to the male, because they know that the female is not going to just be with them for their money, and that's what the dynamic is like at the very beginning, and they're very much always open about how much they're paying for with a lot of things, because it's like it's a form of fuel that they receive when the whole table sees them pick up the check. The fuel is more valuable than the money in those situations, and so they will most purposely do it during those situations. And the thing is, a lot of times in my situation, once the relationship was established and we were together, I found out pretty quickly that he did not have nearly as much money as he looked like he had. He was really struggling, and he was actually, when he was taking me for those vacations and weekends away, he made it seem like it was no big deal, but in actuality he was spending his last dollar to do that, in order to rope me in and draw me in and make me feel secure and make him look like this hugely generous guy that didn't care about money, just wanted to give it away to see others happy. It was completely an absolute illusion. It was not true. He was using it to see me like he was actually, during that love bombing stage, probably assessing how much money that he can probably get for me, either with actual money or ways that he can get me to work to make him more successful with money, to exploit me in a way. And I fell for it. I absolutely fell for it, because, they make you, whatever ideas that they come up with and have, they make you feel like you can be so successful together, and you sacrifice because you can make a lot of money with him and joining him. And really, they're getting you to work for them, to make more money for them. And I saw it happen with me. Looking back, I know what happened. But it and I said this before, narcissists get better at being narcissists as time goes by. And I can see him in his other relationship. The exploitation is enough to make you vomit. Because he's a YouTuber. He's actually putting his new supply half naked in his thumbnails, trying to get more views to make him more money. Like, the exploitation is disgusting. And he's probably got her convinced that this is a great idea because they're going to make so much more money if you're half naked in the thumbnails. And she doesn't see that she's being exploited in every way. She thinks that, oh, he loves me and that we're this great partnership and we're in this together. But that's not what's happening. But again, when you're in the situation and still being love bombed or still before the discarding stage, you're not going to see that. And something that happens to a lot of victims of narcissists is there comes a point where a lot of us give up our jobs. And I did. I gave up my corporate job to go full-time with him on his endeavors. And looking back, this was an absolute, one of the biggest manipulations and the biggest red flag that I want to tell all of you. If you're guessing whether or not they're a narcissist and if you should leave this relationship, or you're kind of looking for gathering evidence for, prosecution to whether or not to leave this person, if they get you to quit your job, to follow them, they'll make it seem like this is going to be the best thing ever if you do this, but actually it's a red flag and it's almost a surefire way for them to get absolute control over you. Because the minute you quit your job, you have lost your sense of self in a bit. And if you don't have the ability to make your own money on your own, you've handed over a lot of control over to the narcissist. And it's them being able to control you. So now none of your fuel is going towards having to go to work and doing another job and making money elsewhere. It's all flowing towards them now. But when you're in those situations, they're convincing you to quit your job and go with them because you'll be more successful, and they're going to help you be more successful. And they're making it seem like this is the best thing for you, and they're making you want it, and they paint this amazing picture. But remember, this is an illusion, and the narcissist is wearing a mask of deception. So when you have someone wanting you to quit your job to go follow them to be successful, really you need to take a very, very hard look at it, because that was one of the major things that happened to me that I want to say I regret it, but it's hard to regret things like that because it helped me learn a lot, about myself. But it was one of those moments where there was just no going back either. I was in it, and I couldn't just walk away from the relationship anymore. And you always have an out when you are able to make your own money. So I just want to really, stress that, because a narcissist it's called financial abuse. Because they will very strategically, and all of these things that happen in the relationship, whether they love bomb you with money at the beginning, get you to quit your job, start on all these endeavors, trying to, make it seem like they can give you the world with everything that you're doing. What is happening actually is happening is the financial abuse. They are using money as a tool against you to control you, to manipulate you, they use it as a tool to get more fuel out of people. The more money they have, the more sense of entitlement they have. They think that because this is their money. Like, my ex did not think he needed to pay taxes ever. That was for other people that are stupid to pay taxes. I don't need to pay taxes. And that was like a major like fighting point with us, because like I've always paid my taxes, and I'm doing everything. I'm doing the books to pay all our taxes, and he didn't want me to pay them. And I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. What? And so anyway, it was just like one of those things. But it tells you a narcissist doesn't think that they need to pay taxes. They're entitled to money, all money, and they think that everyone should just give them money for almost no reason. It's absolutely ridiculous. Not to say that a narcissist doesn't work hard in whatever job that they're doing, but the way they see money is that it belongs to them. People should give it to them, but they will use it as a tool to get fuel for paying for things. It's very weird. And of course, my ex-narc, I can see him with his new supply, and she has already quit her job and followed him in their endeavors. And he's completely isolated her and has used money as, well, now she has to stay with him because she has no other option, because leaving them would be financially disastrous for them. But this is the thing, and this is what's going to happen. When the inevitable discarding stage starts happening, the narcissist will use that time to actually store away the money, because they're planning on leaving you, but you don't know that yet, right? Once the fuel starts to deplete in the relationship and the discarding stage happen, that's the time that they use to store away money and get it away from you. They'll put it in accounts that you can't find. They'll they're going to plan to leave you in absolute financial ruin, and they will not care. And that is one of the devastating things that happens when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, that I don't think a lot of people sometimes talk about, is this person that you thought was your soulmate and that you loved, and you quit your job for them, you moved to them, you sacrificed, you know that you're going to be with them forever. This is, the trust that you had with them. This is not someone that would ever do anything like this, but they're a narcissist. And a lot of times you find that out when they finally discard you. And they don't just discard you. They discard you and they leave you in financial ruin, and they don't give a shit about the struggles you're about to go through. That happened to me in the worst possible way. It was all of our savings. He made off with all of it. And my lawyer said, you're young enough to start over. Don't even bother trying to go after it, because there might not even be anything there when you find it. He had hidden it in accounts so well and took it completely off grid. And so it was gone. My life savings was gone. Everything was gone. And my my advice was to start over. But you know what? And that's what I'm doing. That's what I did. That's what I'm doing. I had to let it go. The money part of it. I couldn't. I didn't want to exhaust myself chasing it. I wanted to put all my efforts and all my strength into rebuilding myself, not rebuilding my finances, because that was so not important at the time either, So it's the tragedy, more like, not only are you brokenhearted, but a lot of us are just left in financial ruin. And the narc will take whatever money that you had made together, or all the money he stored away, and now he's going to use that money to love bomb the next supply. And a lot of us have to witness that. I know I did. And it's so unbelievably devastating, and it's really hard. Like, that's the one thing I think that you can tell people about the narcissist, and that's something that they understand. Because you try to tell them how brokenhearted you are and how you can't get over them. But when you tell them that, they took your life savings and now they're spending it. My ex-narc took our life savings, and he took his new supply literally for a 1-year trip around the world. Like, they were gone a year. And I had to... And I kept on finding out about it. I'm like, oh, they're in Thailand. Oh, they're in China. Oh, they're in India. They were all over Europe. And I knew that what was financing that trip was the money that we had been saving for the last few years, because we were going to buy a second piece of property together, but that didn't happen. Instead, he just left me and took this new supply around. And that's what, that makes it so hard to get over your ex in these situations, because you're seeing them love bomb someone else, and especially if they're using your money. But I want everyone out there to remember, and I'm seeing it right now with my ex, the pattern continues. She quit her job. She is now isolated. She has no means to live without him now. And the devaluing stage, I can see it starting to happen. This is a pattern that is being repeated and will continue to be repeated over and over again until the narcissist is old and decrepit. That's what's going to happen. So try not to be too upset and focus on what was lost and what he's doing now with the new supply. Because believe me, if you think what was bad is happening, that happened to you, it's going to be worse for the new supply, because they are a better narcissist. And I want to give everyone out there the advice that was given to me, that was the best advice, the advice that worked, and the advice that I continue to use, is that when you're in these situations, take your efforts and turn them on all of you. Remember, you have fuel, and you cut them off. They don't get another drop of your fuel. Instead, you replenish yourself emotionally and financially. All your efforts that you had put into them, don't worry about the loss of them, because you can rebuild it and keep it. And you're smarter now. You've learned so much. You're listening to channels like this. You guys are in comments telling each other and warning each other and helping each other. And I think that's just so amazing. But, we can recover. We're all going to recover emotionally, and we can all recover financially. The narcissist is set to ruin on both parts of that. Okay, so I want everyone to know that you guys are all going to be great. And I'm really heartfelt from all the positive energy that everyone is coming in. I am so glad that you guys have all found this channel and have joined our tribe, Post Narcissist.